All right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to week number 37. This is Open Q&A. My name is Brian McLogan and I am here to answer your questions. I do not have a topic for this week's Open Q&A because I absolutely forgot about this Open Q&A. And you might be wondering, how can you forget about this Open Q&A? You've been doing this for 37 weeks straight. And yes, that is absolutely the truth. I've been doing it for longer, but 37 weeks straight I've been doing it. And to tell you the truth, I was out of town this weekend. I had just a nice little family trip that we did. And yeah, it was very busy. I actually just got in the door about 15 minutes ago. I was on an airplane. And so get into the airplane, and actually it was on our layover in the airport. I was like, oh my God, I forgot to send out my email. And I'm like, I didn't even think about my email because I was so excited about my trip. So yeah, I didn't have anything topic to send out to my email. So therefore I just kind of did a little update as far as, checked in on everybody from there. And then I was like, well, crap, I got to go ahead and create a community post. I got to go and do a live stream. And that is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. I did look at the post and we have a lot of questions, which I'm now very scared of because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all of them. For else, but I do see you, Tyler, Elijah, Bruno, Super, Katrina, Paula. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Ali, I saw you had some other questions, and yeah, as far as about how to get on polynomials. As far as graph polynomials, I mean, that's something actually I spent a whole bunch of days on for the polynomial. And to give you a quick little answer, just because you were here a little bit from the beginning, just make sure you find the zeros, the multiplicity, and end behavior. I don't have time to go over it now, but if you go to my link that's in the description, you can maybe, if you have a specific problem or a question, I can help you out with. But basically, you want to find the zeros, the multiplicity, and the end behavior. That's going to help you get a general idea of the graph of the polynomial. How do you find the standard form of the equation? A lot of questions already coming in, guys. So make sure, guys, remember I go live every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And go ahead and take your answers. I do take some questions sometimes from the chat, but it is very difficult for me to always be constantly looking at the chat and then trying to do the math problems. So that's why I ask you guys to go to the Google form, which is in the description. I'll also post it in the chat at this moment. So therefore, you guys know that you guys can ask those questions. And then also, if you do not get your question answered, or if you want something that's a little bit quicker, you can always go ahead and refer to my Discord community group, where you guys can go and post questions and have a little bit of a community where people are answering questions, and you can also answer their questions. I'd also like to thank all my members on my YouTube channel for helping me create a new subscriber that is going to get a free tutoring from me, and that is all generated from your guys' support from there. So I do not offer free tutoring. I only offer small course tutoring, which is inside my course Pre-Calculus. And then in my Pre-Calculus Simplified course, which enrollment I believe ends at the end of September. And then, so I just do some free tutoring, just to some random lucky subscriber of my channel. And I've been doing some, last one was on email and stuff like that. But I want to thank all of you guys for the supporting on my channel, because that allows me to make sure I can create that time. And inside of my very, 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 very busy schedule, and to give some people some free tutoring where they might not have expected it. And I wish, guys, I know I could offer more tutoring, but beyond my class and inside of my own classes, as well as my online course, everything is extremely busy. And then again, I did mention this in the email, but for those of you, just wanted to mention it, I guess, while I have you here, for those of you that are taking pre-calculus and maybe you were not on my channel or around my channel at the beginning of the year, when I first opened up my course, I do have it open up to the end of September, that you can go ahead and check it out and see if it's something right for you. I mean, it is an online course where I don't post videos that are on YouTube. It is private, not personalized, but it's private videos that I've recreated for my own courses this year. And then also there is a private community for you to post questions as well as to get help from me. So that is some of the things that we do inside of the course. All right. Yes, and I do have conic sections inside the course. I'm not sure if that's what your question was, but I do cover conic sections. Nth term. All right. I see a lot of questions going through. So I teach 4th and 5th. I teach high school. So right now this year I'm teaching Algebra 2, Geometry, Honors, Geometry Standard, and Pre-Calculus. So I got a very busy year and I got to go to school tomorrow and oh man, it's gonna be a fun one. All right, so let's go and open up these questions. Let's see how fun this is. It's either some people spam their questions and they just, because usually I only get like, I don't know, anywhere between like 5 and 12 or 5 and 15 questions. And usually, you know, I can usually like break that down to answer questions. I can usually answer those questions, you know, somewhere between like roughly around a 10. But now, I don't know why it's flickering like that. Now we're going to go and answer these in real time because I don't know what these questions are. But sometimes when I do have this, the reason why I do have it like this is students will go ahead and post the same question multiple times over and over again, even though that doesn't improve their chances or do anything else for them. But for some reason, they feel like that is what they need to do. So let me go and pop out the chat so I can see you guys as well. Follow along with you. Oh, and then also to make things even more crazy, so I get in late today, or you know, like 8:45. I get into my house, and then I updated my computer, and the updates on my computer was like I have all these new notifications and everything else. It's like it's going crazy. But yeah, so then I couldn't actually like. I was trying to get everything set up and like all the programs, everything was like rerunning up and I had to reset up things and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why, if it's, sometimes my stream is frozen like that as well. So, please let me know, as long as you maybe just let me know that it's good. And then, and a lot of times I think you just need to like refresh it and you guys will be okay. All right. But if not, let me know. Can you do an example about a parabola? Yes, if you provide. But right now I have 26 questions. So any questions that are in the chat, I am probably not going to be able to get to. I don't even know if I'm going to get to all the questions that I have, but it looks like some people are thinking. So we'll try to do the best that I possibly can. All right. So I'm going to do these guys real equations. So you guys can see, like, a lot of times I get to these. But if you're giving me some word problems, I can tell you right now that's probably not going to work. Yes, word problems, don't have time for that. We got to move on and get through these. I don't know why. Every single time I say, don't give me word problems, I'm not doing word problems, people still just give me word problem after word problem with the per problem. Where to study, actually I did that one. That was actually from last week. Forgot to delete it. All right, graphing trig functions. Okay, let's see what they got here. Guys, if you have questions, the best thing you can do is put your questions into the chat. I'm not going to be able to get to everybody's questions, but I will go off of questions that have been submitted. So I do appreciate you guys typing them into the chat. But when you have something that's moving this fast, I'm not going to be able to get to your questions inside the chat. So you're going to want to use the community form or the Google form to go ahead and post those. All right, so this student wants me to y equals 1 minus 3 cosine of pi x over 3. All right, I'll cover it. I'll just cover the basics. So we'll go ahead and graph that one. All right, so that's number 2, or that was question number 1. Actually, I don't know why. So I can cover that one. Actually, what am I doing? Yeah, 2 full periods. I'm not going to do 2 full periods, but we'll get something set up for that student. Here, actually, let's do this. I like when I'm able to take a picture. It's a lot easier than doing. It's a lot easier than rewriting it all. So let's go and do this one. All right. So. Come on. Oh, there she is. All right, so here's a question to go ahead and graph. I'll just do this one at a time, and then we'll just kind of move on from there. So the next question is how to graph. Now, guys, I'm not going to go through the everything on this. I want to kind of just knock out the ideas, the characteristics of the graph, and then show it the graph. The first thing I would do is I'd write it in the standard form, so that way we can identify the transformations. So this is our A, cosine of B, x, and then there's no transformation here, plus D. Okay, so if there was a C, that would be the plus C. And actually, let's just write in those transformations, so therefore you have it, because you should know all those. Bx plus C, or minus C, sorry. Minus C, make sure you have parentheses in there, plus D. Okay. All right, so let's go over everything. Amplitude, that's how high the graph goes. It's the half distance between the max and the min. Remember, the amplitude, guys, is going to be absolute value of A. So that's absolute value of -3, which is 3. All right. Then we have the period. The period, remember, is how long it takes the graph to repeat itself. So that's going to be 2 pi divided by B. In this case, my B is going to be pi thirds. So 2 pi divided by pi thirds, multiply by the reciprocal. That's going to give you 6. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 3 over pi on the top and the bottom. That gives me 6. And then you can say here we have a vertical transformation. That's how if the graph is being shifted up or down. And that's going to be up 1. Okay, you could also do the frequency and everything else like that. Now, the traditional graph of the period graph goes to 2 pi. So now we're going into now we have a period of 6. Okay, now when you're looking at a graph of cosine and sine, typically what we have is what we call the x scale. And what you can do for the x scale is the x scale is kind of just a way for us to determine when all the important parts are, like the max, the zeros, and the min of the cosine graph. And there's 4 of them within a period. So what you do is you just take your period, 2 pi, and divide it by 4. So if I wanted to find my x scale here, all I'm simply going to do is I'm going to take my period divided by 4. So again, and a lot of times, the x scale is just how you want to scale your graph. So you don't really need it from there. Or you could do a different x scale if you wanted to. But typically your x scale I like to do by 4 for the sine and cosine, and by 2 for tangent and cotangent. So x scale is pi over 4. So therefore, if I have this one is going to be 6 over 4, which is the same thing as 3 halves. So like watch, if I had this would be 3 halves. Then the next one is going to be 6 halves, right? Well, 6 halves is the same thing as what? 3, right? And then you have 9 halves. And then you're going to have 12 halves. 12 halves is going to be the same thing as 6, right? So you can see, you can just keep on repeating this graph. I'm not going to go through all of them because I think the question asks to go for 2 periods, and I'm just going to do 1 period. So typically, if the graph was not shifted at all, the graph would go as high as 3, so 1, 2, 3, and down as 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the graph would look something like this. If you were to look at the parent graph here, that'd be the minimum, that'd be a 0, and that'd be a max. Okay, and I'm just going off of what the parent graph looks like. However, what has happened to this graph? This graph got shifted up 1 unit, right? So now all these points are going to be lifted up 1 point. Okay, so the graph is actually going to look something like that. And again, so it goes as high as 4, it goes as low as -2, and those are some characteristics. And you can just keep on repeating that to get to the next points, right? You'd have 15, let's say you'd have 15 halves, 18 halves, right? And you can just kind of continue that pattern. So hopefully that was kind of helpful for you on that problem, because it was a pretty difficult problem as far as not like a basic, not like an introduction problem. So that's why I didn't get into like details or like slow details for you. So hopefully that helps. Well, hi, Addie. Good to have you on. Hi, Kylie and Tyler and Charlie and D-Dub and Yanelli. I think I said your name that right. Hopefully, let me know. Sharinas. Aiden, good to see you, Aiden. Ready, set, learn, lands. Thank you so much for hopping on, guys. MMA Dance, how to identify the vertex. Post your questions into the Google form, guys. It's in the chat, please. That makes things a lot easier for myself. All right, so we got you, Tyler. Oh, by the way, that was submitted by Tyler. All right, let's go to the next question. I'll try to get to 10 questions. We'll see how long this goes. All right. Next one. Lois, so volume and trigonometry. I don't know. There's no questions. So it just wants me to talk about volume and trigonometry. Oh, I'm having trouble calculating the missing dimensions, angles, shapes of current math unit. Oh, surface area, volume, and trigonometry. Lois, I would recommend submitting me a question or something more details because I'm not really sure what I need to do to explain to help you out with that. So next time, let me know a little bit more details on what you need help with. So usually when you submit a problem or a question, that kind of gives me an idea and I can better explain for you. Hi, Kylie. All right. And Molo. All right, awesome. Sanath, I think. Good morning. So this one is DeQuay. So thank you so much for teaching me more than 30 minutes that my teacher taught me all week. Well, you are very, very welcome. Happy to help you out. All right, so let's get to the next one. Shrav, all right, is there? Shrav said, yes, there is. I am still having trouble solving the fraction method of elimination method, even though you made a video on it. I'm not sure what you mean by the fraction or method video of that. So if you can maybe provide me a question or like a video and like a little bit more details, guys, details help me out immensely because there's a lot of ways I can explain things. I could spend 10, 15 minutes explaining it, but like if I don't know what you're having trouble on, I don't want to waste your time and everybody else's time of me just explaining something, like I can make a guess what I think you need help with. But the more details, guys, you can provide, the better. Okay. And that will also improve for you guys getting your questions answered. So I'll have to move on, unfortunately. All right. Okay. He gave me a question, I think. Oh, no, sorry. This is from Martha. Oh, that doesn't look like fun. Martha, why you give me that question? Example number 9 and 10. I'm not sure. 3. I'm trying to look at your problem that you have for that. It's on some fractional powers. Let's see. You can break those up to there. And then you can write all those out. And then simplify. I'm not really sure about 10. I'd have to look at that a little bit more. So let me kind of go through. Let's do this one here for you. I'd have to spend a little bit more time. I'd have to look at this next one a little bit more. Whoa. Not this one, but the other question you submitted to me. All right, so on a problem like this, what I would recommend doing is, whenever you're dealing with exponents, it doesn't matter if you're dealing with rational powers or with radicals. Remember, we can only apply the operations when they have the same base. So if you have a radical, and the base is going to be the radicand. So rewrite it as a rational power, whatever you need to do. But you can only apply these operations if they are the same base. So the first thing I'd recommend doing is saying, all right, I can see that. Let's see, 81 and 27, I can rewrite those as the same base 3. And because I have 3 to the 4th, right? 3 raised to the 4th, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So that can be rewritten as 3 to the 4th. And then 32 and 64, those can be rewritten as a base 2. So 2, that's going to be to the 5th. So that'd be to the 6th. So I can rewrite 64 as 2 to the 6th power to the negative 1/2 times. This is 3 to the 4th to the 1/2 power times, this is 2 to the 5th raised to the 2/5, and then this is times 3 cubed raised to the negative 2/3. Okay. So now what this allows me to do, now I can simplify this, right? Use my rules of order of operation, or my rules of power. my rules of rational powers, which would be when you have a power, or your power rules, your rules of radicals, powers, I don't know, rules of exponents. There we go. When you have a power raised to a power, you just multiply the powers. So 6 times negative 2, that's going to be 2 times, that's the negative third. This would be 3 squared. This would be times 2 squared. And this is going to be 3 to the negative second. Now we can just rearrange these terms. So I can say 3 squared times 3 to the negative second times 2 to the negative third times 2 squared. Okay, now remember the rules of exponents, right? What do you do when you have the same power and they have the same base, but and you need to multiply it? Then you add the powers, right? So this is going to be 2 plus negative 2 times 2 times negative 3 plus 2. And hopefully you can see that this is just going to go to 0. And then it's just going to leave me with a 2 to the negative first power, which is equal to 1/2. So hopefully I did that correctly. And let me just look one more time, see if your other problem comes to me real quick. You're subtracting. You'd have to factor that out. I'd have to look at it. I'd have to spend a little more time. Sorry. So I'm just going to have to skip that one. But I got you one question. So thank you. All right. Guys, if you're just joining in and you do have questions, like Haven, you can go ahead and submit your questions into the Google form. I am already pretty completely full for tonight, so I'm not going to be able to get to many other additional questions that are submitted on the forums, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up because I don't want you guys to be wasting your time typing them into the chat. If you do have a question, go ahead and post it into the Google form inside the chat. Or sorry, inside my description. All right. All right, this one is from Jamie. Explain geometric functions. I don't know. Again, I need more details to answer those questions. All right. No name, just a picture. That's cool. No name, no description, no problems, and then their homework assignment. So I have no idea what you want me to do with that. So second to third problem. All right, solve simultaneous equations, but doesn't give me a method. With the XY, I would need to go back and look at review those. That's not something I have ready. Did I delete it? Yeah, I did. Dang it. Okay. Yeah, not going to be able to answer that question. That's something I'll need to sit down and look at again, which in this open Q&A, we don't have time for. Answer the first question, sir. You are absolutely. Let me see what I get. First question. Find different phase shifts that translate the cosine curve into the sine curve. Write an equation for both new cosine curves. Write different phase shifts. Okay, so it's kind of an interesting question. Or a couple things you could do here. It's me. And this is one we actually think we talk about. When do we do this? I teach this for, even odd. Oops. Yeah, we teach this for even odd identities. Okay. So it says find two different phase shifts that translate the cosine curve onto the sine curve. Write the equation for both new cosine curves using each phase shift. So there's a couple different ways we could do this, and I'm not sure if I'm answering this totally correct, but obviously we can see that if we want to say how are these equal to each other? How can you go from sine to cosine, right? Well, one way is you could just shift, right? You could do sine looks like this 9 degrees. So you could say cosine, and you could say if you did 90 degrees to the left, right? So you could literally just say, where there's sine, here's cosine. So let's just do that. So we could say sine of, let's just call this x. And then let's do what, plus 90? Okay, that equals, if you took sine plus 90 degrees, that would just shift the graph 90 units to the left, right? And that would be equal to my cosine graph, to cosine of theta. Let's use theta, I guess. All right, now that works. Well, how else could we get equal to cosine of theta? What if we took the sine graph and reflected it? So if we reflected it about the y-axis, then that would take this graph and flip it over here, and then we'd have to move the graph to the right. So we could say sine of negative theta minus 90, or plus means to the left. So plus minus 90 degrees, 90 minus theta. Oh, yeah, okay. 90 minus theta equals cosine of theta. But, so therefore, to write that, though, correctly, we'd say a negative. How do I write that? I thought it's 90 minus theta. 90 minus, oh, yeah, okay. But then 90 degrees minus theta, which is another way of 90 degrees equals cosine theta, because that is going to be your even-odd identity. Minus the theta. Okay, yeah. I wrote this incorrectly, though. Let's do it like this. There we go. That's how it looks. Because you have a negative 90 plus theta. Negative 90 plus theta. Yeah, but then you would factor that out, and that would give you a positive. That's right, okay. Oh, wait, no, never mind. That's right, okay. I'm going crazy. Plus, I'm like losing my mind. So you need to go to the right, so yeah, it'd look like that. Okay, so that's the transformation, and then you'd have to shift it to the right. So then you could also distribute that and make it look like that. Okay, there we go. Sorry, a little fumbled at the end. Can you just put it as theta plus 90? No, you cannot, because it's asking for what is the new sine graph curve equation. So you have to have the new equation in terms of sine, not in terms of cosine. But yes, to your point, you could just add cosine, add 90 degrees of cosine, and subtract 90 degrees from sine, right? And that would give you the same things. But that's the question wanted you to find two different equations for sine. And for two different equations for sine that give you cosine are these two. All right, let's go and see. So that was number 3. Let's get into 4. Oh God, you guys keep on throwing in questions into me. Adibab, sorry, I'm not gonna be able to get your question, sir. I'm having trouble. How to find the area of a quadrilateral when the question is being asked by a given figure. I would have to go back and look at that. I'm not gonna move on to it, but that's gonna need a little bit more time. For a minute. Find the area of the quadrilateral A, B, C, and D in which to so you'd have to use some triangles. That's gonna be a little bit more advanced problem that I'm just gonna be able to do on the open live Q&A. But actually, I'll just go and I'm assuming I'll post your picture. I'm not gonna go through the problem, but I'll try to post your picture, and then maybe if you want to take it into Discord, you can obviously ask some people there, and maybe we can kind of work through it a little bit more for me. All right, so there's your quadrilateral. My basic idea here is I would recognize that you have triangles. So in that case, I would basically keep on looking into breaking up the shapes and maybe even look into finding the areas of each triangle separately. I'm just not sure what it is you know and what you don't know at this point to go ahead and solve that problem. But I would look at, since you have 3 sides of a triangle, you could find the area of both those triangles and then add them together. But I'm not going to have time to cover that in this live stream. So, but hopefully that at least gives you a little bit of direction for there. All right. Arav, if you have questions, the best thing I would recommend doing is going into the Discord, which is in the description, and go ahead and posting some questions there. All right, Just got that one. Post the same question again? No, you posted a new question. Okay. Not going to have time to go over that one either. Okay. One question per person. I don't have all this time. At down the large x is always negative b. Not sure. At down large x. I have no idea what that question is saying. So sorry. Got to move on. This is from Mehmet. Is Dave? Is it necessary to raise a certain number that dictates the y? I mean, simultaneously raise it to the number it corresponds to y. I would need to kind of see a little bit more information, picture from there. It's necessary to raise that certain number. I would need to see a little bit more information. Sorry, Mehmet. So if you guys can provide a picture, equation, anything else is always need. This is from I need math help. Well, that's very good. How to get the vertex focus direction axis symmetry. What are the formulas? Your necessary things to remember. Wow, that is a lot from others. So, I mean, this is technically something I spent a whole day on, so I'm not sure if I can give you justice here on this, but hopefully I'll just kind of help you out here. Quiet screen. I believe it says parabola. Nope, I had that wrong. X squared, y minus k, 4p times y minus k. Dang it. X minus h squared. Wrote it down wrong. I couldn't remember. I had to go and check it because I don't teach this till the end. So we could do, yeah, x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. Okay. Let me just double check something. Jeez, that's horrible. Not what I was looking for. Okay. All right, so let's go and talk about what we've talked about before in our two equations. So actually, I need to flip these around. Okay, so let's go through the let's kind of go through the progression. Algebra 1, Algebra 2. And let's just say pre-calc. I mean, obviously you could have talked about these equations in all different courses, but let's just kind of go through each one. So in this case, if we wanted to find our axis symmetry, right, we would say x equals opposite of b divided by 2 times a. That was the axis symmetry. That's where and again, these are all represent a vertical parabola that looks like this. Okay, and let's just say it goes like there. Okay, so the axis symmetry, right, is right there. Opposite b divided by 2a. Then we have the vertex, which is going to be right there. So there's the vertex, and this is the axis. Okay, and the vertex is going to have the x-coordinate as the axis symmetry, opposite b divided by 2 times a. And then if you're using a function or an equation, f of opposite b divided by 2 times a. And this was kind of difficult. So you had to find the x value, and then you had to plug that x value of the axis symmetry into the function to find the y value of the vertex. A lot of students kind of had trouble with that. They didn't, it's difficult, but basically we wanted students to see the shape and general idea of the graph and recognize there's an axis of symmetry, which the graph is symmetrical about, and there is a vertex, which is the absolute max or absolute min of the graph. Then we get into algebra 2. And when we talk about the axis, it's kind of easy because our vertex, we actually realize instead of using all these a and b for standard form, we can say x equals h because our vertex can be more simply written as h comma k. So the vertex is h comma k. All right, so as long as we can identify those values of h and k in vertex form, we could just go ahead and label that. But there's actually more characteristics into a parabola than just the axis of symmetry and the parabola. And that's what we get into in pre-calculus. If you look at conics, we start to look at what we call this dot up here, which is called the focus. Okay, and then we talked about this line here, which we call the directrix. Okay, so the distance from the focus to the vertex is the same distance as the distance from the directrix to the vertex. However, please note that the directrix is a horizontal line that is perpendicular to the axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry, again, is x equals h. The vertex, again, is the same, h comma k. Now, obviously, you could also have a horizontal parabola, and that's why everything would change here. But the distance here that I was talking about, the distance from the vertex to the focus is what we call p. So if I want to find the focus of a vertical parabola, all I'm going to do is take my k and just add p to it. So k plus p. And if I want to find my directrix, again, remember that's a perpendicular line. So that's going to be y equals k minus p. All right. And then we'd be doing those exact same things with with h though, if it was a horizontal parabola. So hopefully that helps you guys out from on there. Whew. All right. Yes. So let's see here. I need help evaluating limits and the difference quotient. I attached the question. Let's see, it's been a while since I did some limits and the difference quotient. I would just need to go and look. I'll maybe come back to that one. I just want to make sure. So I start by substituting my values in for a given function. I tried rationalizing it, but the answer kept getting longer than I was. I'd have to go and take a look at it. Sorry. Did you give your name? You did not give your name. So sorry, that's just something I would need to kind of look at a little bit further and see if I can advise you from there. So I'll just go ahead and move on, see if I can see that next time. Reed Duggan gave me a question, but I don't explain the equation. So I'd recommend submitting a picture next time and I can answer that for you. So sorry. In the equation of straight lines, find the equation of a line not given coordinates but gradient of the line is available perpendicular to another line. Yeah, if you guys can give me questions, that'd be great. So this one was finding the equation of a line, I believe, but a given degree of the coordinates, but just if it's perpendicular. So, I mean, just remember, if you have the gradient slope and they're perpendicular, remember they're going to be opposite reciprocal slopes. That's about the best I can tell you. I'm not sure what else you are looking for in that. I'd kind of need a little more information. Sorry, Benedict. Here's another one by Benedict. Oh, you popped up questions this time. Or you gave him a picture. In the diagram, determine the equation xy in the form of y equals mx plus b. Determine the equation of the line. Okay, so it's not really drawn to scale. And it's just going to be perpendicular. I'm not 100% familiar with this problem or what class you're taking or whatever else, but I'll post the picture and then I'll kind of give you my idea what I would do to approach the problem. And then maybe if there's anything else you want to add into Discord or something, maybe somebody else can further help you out with that. All right, so at first I was looking, oh, this is a horizontal line, but it's not a horizontal line. It's just grown to, it's just you have a line. So if you are, I'm not sure how they represent from in there or how you're supposed to get these coordinates for your y-intercept, because I'm not really sure where the y-intercept is being represented or how this is being represented. So I'm a little confused, at least on the diagram that is being presented to you. So, I mean, the only thing I can tell you is, find the slope. Again, if I'm assuming this is a coordinate point here, So x1, y1, and x2, y2. Find the slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then, if you have the slope, remember that perpendicular slopes are going to be opposite reciprocals. So let's actually just do this. I'm not sure if I'm doing this correctly, or at least in the approach, what I'm understanding from the graph or from understanding from the question, but I'll at least go and separate. So this is going to be 5 over 6. So this new slope here, assuming that is what these are, coordinate points, I'm not really sure if they are coordinate points. They don't really look like they're coordinate points. And all this is showing this is perpendicular. So all I know is the new slope is going to be a negative 6/5. And since I don't have any other values of what these points are or any equation, I would say y equals negative 6/5 x. That's a very soft maybe. I'm not sure if that is exactly what you need. Enforcer, you are very, very welcome and good for you. Congrats. And hi, Sydney from the Philippines. Good to have you on. And James doing midterms already. Wow. So anyways, hopefully that was helpful. All right. Now, somebody didn't submit a name or a question. They just gave me a photo. Let's see what this one is. Word problems. Nope. Don't have time to do it. Let's see. Is this the same person that gave me the word problems? No. I don't know what they want me to do. They just gave me a picture and they didn't tell me, is it possible to obtain the minimum value for a function assuming y is the real number so that you are in the process? I assume so. I would need to, the minimum value, I'd have to look into doing some calculus, which I'm not going to be able to do for you on that problem. Whew. Yeah, you want to go and find the first derivative when the tangent line is going to equal to 0, and then find that value from there. So yeah, use the derivative. I guess I can post that question. I'm not going to be able to do it though. Now I'll just leave it off there, because everything's not all the same. It's not going to be beneficial if the question's not there. All right. Let's see. Time questions from one country to another. Okay. Don't know. Sophia, what is the importance of identifying if a function is a relation or not? Interesting question. So what is the importance? Well, I think the importance thing is not so much identifying so when you have a function, a function is going to follow by certain types of rules. And I think it's really important to know that when you have a function, you kind of know what to expect. When you plug something in, you're going to get something out, one thing out. You're not going to have more than one example or more than one output. And so I think it's important to understand when you're dealing with functions, when you're not dealing with functions, because that is basically laying the groundwork of the rules that you can now understand your what you're looking for and what is going to work. Like for instance, if you are obtaining some answers or working with something that's not a function, you know that that's not going to work. Or if you're working with something that is, when it has a function, it has to follow those certain parameters, right? For every input, there is only one unique output. So I think that's kind of the important thing about understanding when something is a function. Then that's kind of like setting the rules of the different types of framework that the problem is going to abide by. All right. You will go ahead and, Jacob, you'll go ahead and type in your question. For that one, I would just check in continuity for forms. I have a ton of examples for you on that. But I am going to have to wrap these up. How much time I got? Okay, got a little more time. Let's try to knock out to 10 questions. So let's see how more we can get. Let's just say, gives the framework of the problem lays the ground rules. All right. Ephraim is saying, do you have derivative videos? I do. I have a ton of derivative videos. It's just been a while since I've been doing the derivative, so that's why I don't handle a lot of those types of problems on the live streams, just because it, when you're not doing something like a lot, you just need some practice to kind of like to, improve upon your instruction and like, looking where things to look for. So anyways, if you are looking for my videos, guys, yes, a lot. Just check out my playlists. I have all of my videos, not all of my videos, most of my videos all organized on playlists. All right, let's go ahead and try to wrap this up here. So 9 to 10, let's see if I can get this done. All right. Got that one done. Sweet. Convert to base 10. What? I don't even know how I would do that question. Convert to base 10. Sorry, Antonio. You got me on your question, so sorry. Mari, I'm trying to get to as many questions. I'm not going to be able to get to all my questions tonight. I have a ton of questions, way more questions than I ever had. So I will try to do my best, guys. And, we'll see that if I can get to you guys questions from there. But Antonio, I do not understand your question. So I'm going to have to move on. And solving problems with the arithmetic sequences, finding the sums, I would just go through the rules. But again, there's no question or anything else. So, that's usually like a whole lesson that I would teach. So I'll have to move on from there. But yeah, just follow the formulas. If you find the formulas for finding the sequence, or finding the parts of the sequence, as well as, the finding the sum, it's most of the time, it's just going to be following those formulas. Yeah, log base 10. I know, but you gave me, I don't know. I've never done a problem the way that you're presenting. I meant to say log base 10. But there was no logarithms in yours. So I didn't understand where the logarithm was. Unfortunately, I think I deleted it too, unfortunately. But yeah, your question didn't have any logarithm. So I'm not sure how you wanted to rewrite it as a logarithm. If you maybe want to try to explain it to me a little bit more, I'll be more than happy to do it. But all I saw was a quadratic. So I'm not sure what you wanted me to do in terms of log base 10. So if you want to add it into the chat and let me know, then I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. Yes, arithmetic sequences, which I get a lot of questions on. Can I do a part of integration by partial fractions? No, unfortunately, I cannot. That is actually not something that I taught back in for mine, so that's not something I am at least strong enough, familiar enough to go ahead and teach on the live stream and give you a decent explanation. So I do apologize for that. Well, happy Isabella to be able to helping you out. All right. So Antonio, I'm waiting for you. If you have any more of those questions, if you have anything else you can add to me, I'll be more than happy. Thank you, Whitney. But I didn't get anything, so I'll delete that. Antonio, convert a quadratic function to a log function. Okay. I do not know how to do that, or at least off of the top of my brain. So I apologize, but not something I am. So you need to rewrite a logarithmic equation into a logarithm. I don't think I've ever done that before. So I apologize. That's, I not coming off the tip of my head that I've done that before, or I know how to approach that. How to convert a quadratic to a logarithm. I don't know. I don't think I've seen that, or I'm not understanding what exactly you've done. And if you maybe have an example of something you've done before with that, then I'll be more happy to take a look at it. It just says simplify. So let me know on that. If you want to resubmit it, convert a quadratic function into a log, but the quadratics and logs they're not convertible. You can do exponential into logarithmic. Those convert, but quadratic functions I'm not sure about the converting. I've never done that before, so sorry. It just says simplify. Ashwin, you would need to go ahead and use. Let's go and see. What are the double angle formulas for cosine? You could do cosine squared minus sine squared. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, Ashwin. I'm not sure what you'd want to do for simplifying in this one. Sine of x, cosine of 2x. Yeah, because I'm not sure what the simplifying. I'm not seeing any benefit with using the cosine of 2x, cosine squared minus sine squared. Here, I'll give to this question and maybe anybody else can see this. I'm not sure if anybody else sees what you want to do to simplify this problem. I mean, so you can use your double angle formula, but I'm just not sure how things would be simplified from here. Because the only thing I'm thinking of is, you can convert that to cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything to be simplified from there. So yeah, sorry. You guys are starting to stump me here. This is why I don't do things on real time. But yeah, I'm not fully sure on that. Maybe it's something I'd maybe look at from there. I can help you out with. But I guess from my main point of view would be use identities. But I'm not sure if there's any other operation that you'd want to do. So sorry about that. And let's see, Jono, is that your question, Jono? Yeah, that was your question, Jono. So thank you for that. But I apologize. I'm not sure what else. I'm looking at the identities, and I'm not sure which identities would really help you simplify on that one. Limits plus trigonometry. Pumpkin. Well, thank you very much for your questions on limits. All right, so I guess I can hold on. All right, so x approaches 45 degrees. So we have, in this case, we have sine squared of x minus cosine squared of x divided by the sine of x minus cosine of x. Okay, well, just like anything else, guys, I mean, you're going to want to simplify. And automatically, I recognize this as a difference of two squares, right? So therefore, I can rewrite this as the limit as x approaches 45 degrees of sine of x minus cosine of x times sine of x plus cosine of x all over sine of x minus cosine of x. Okay. Now those go ahead and get divided out. So therefore, that is now equal to the limit as x approaches 45 degrees. And then now we can plug in the sine of x plus cosine of x, which is equal to the sine of 45 degrees minus the cosine of 45 degrees. And hopefully you guys remember the sine of 45 degrees is going to be square root of 2 over 2 minus the cosine of 45 degrees, which is square root of 2 over 2. So therefore, that should equal 0 from on there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I need to go ahead and call it for the night. It is 10 o'clock, and I already have a ton more questions that you guys keep on adding into me, which is very awesome. But I do apologize, guys. These are all I got to 10 questions. That's typically what I do in a live stream. So please feel free to submit your questions, though, that you guys have. And again, the more detailed you have, I'm sure there's probably about half of these questions that I'm not going to be able to get to, just for the fact of I'm not going to understand what the question is being asked from in the problem. So make sure you guys are being very detailed with your questions, so therefore I can understand exactly what it is. And I'm not going to be able to get to everything, guys, but I will go ahead and try to do my best for you. And I will make sure that I am here again next week at 9 p.m. and we'll go ahead and answer more of your questions. But thanks so much, guys, for joining me in tonight. And I will see you guys later on this week, maybe next week. All right, cheers.